Okay, for lesson 8.1, we're going to start with some of the basics of geometry. So, basic vocabulary, basic ways of identifying that vocabulary, and just getting started on some of those building blocks of geometry. So the first thing you need to do is open up your book to page 310 so you can follow along with some of the things that we're doing. So the first thing is we have some vocabulary words for this section. So you will need to write down in your notes the vocab word and how to identify it. Okay, so the first word is a point. So the definition is an exact location. So any point. It's usually represented as a dot, but it doesn't have to have any size. So a point is generally represented as a dot with a letter next to it. A capital letter to name the point. It has to be capital. Okay? There's a dot and a capital letter. The next one is a line. Now, you know what a line is. A line is a straight path that connects two points. So, a line is going to have something that looks like this. This is how you would see it. They have labeled the dots or the points X, Y, and they have labeled the line L. Now, to represent the line, you would write X, Y with a line over the top of it. Or you can do Y, X with the line over the top of it. Or you can write the lowercase letter. Okay, so 2 points the line or a lowercase letter that represents that line. Now the last thing we have is a plane. Not the last thing we have. The last thing we have for this section is a plane. So you have a point, a line, and a plane. A plane is a flat surface that extends forever. Any 3 points can make up a plane. So in the book, we have a parallelogram with point S, point R, and point Q. And we would represent that as plane Q, R, S. And the dots, the points, can be in any order. The capital letters does not matter what order they are on. So, any 3 points can make up a plane. So, fun fact, if you have a table, it is far better to have a table with only 3 legs than a table with 4 legs. If you have a table that has 3 legs that come out from the center, those 3 legs will always create a plane or a flat surface. Whereas if you have 4 legs on your table, 3 of them will always create a plane, but 1 of them might not meet in that plane, and that's what makes your table tippy. Okay? So this is how we write. Oops, I didn't write what that one should be. You do have to write out the word point. So, this is what they are. This is how you would find them on some sort of graph or in your book. And this is how you would represent them in your answer on your homework. So, if the answer was point A, you would write point A. If the answer is line XY, you would write this, this, or this. And if it's a plane, you write plane with 3 of the points that are found on that plane. So, the first example is they have a plane. So they have a plane that's parallelogram again. I should have used the other side of the board with the graphing side. And there's 2 lines on it. And right here where they cross is point C. Here they have point D. Here is point E. This is B. And then down here, not on a line, is point A. So the first thing they want you to do is to identify 3 points. So you would have, if this was your homework, you would have to write 3 points. Now, I don't care if you just write the letter, but other teachers later on might want you to write point A, so you might as well get in the habit of that now. So you could say, there's point A. You could rewrite point 3 times, or you could say point A, point B, and C. Separate them by commas so we know they're 3 different points. Second question says to identify 2 lines. Well, you have this line, so line BD. Remember, you write that like this, BD. And this is a full line, not a line segment, which we'll learn about later. So you do have to have the arrows at the end to represent your line. And your second line is here, and we only have 2 points on that line, so CE. And again, you have to represent it as a line with those arrows. It goes on forever. It's not a segment, it's a line. And then the last one is find the plane. Identify the plane. So all you have to do when you're identifying a plane is choose 3 dots, 3 points that are not all on the same line. So B, E, and A. So you could say plane B, E, A. That is going to be a flat area that lies with all of those points. Okay, so we have 2 more vocab words and how to write them. And the first one is a ray. And that is a line that has one endpoint and then extends forever in the other direction. So and you would write that as G, H, with the arrow going in the direction that it was going. So if it was going this direction, you would put the arrow that way, or you would put HG and swap your points. And then the next one is a line segment. Oops. And like I said, a line segment is different from a line because it stops. It's a part of a line. There's no arrows. So here we have L and we have M, and you would write that like this, L, M, the line, but no arrows. Okay? No arrows because it's a line segment. It's not the full line. So they give us in example 2 this strange triangle looking thing where we have this line coming out like this, and then a ray going this way, and then a segment there. So we have S, T, R, and then over here is Q. And they want to identify a few things. So the first one is to identify 3 rays. So we have to find 3 different rays. Well, from R to T, that's a ray, because it's just going to keep going that direction. From R to S, that's a ray, because it's just going to keep going from R on. But we could also say R to Q is another ray, because it's starting at R and going out towards Q. Oh, they put SQ as the other ray. Well, that's okay. It's the same thing. So RT, RS, RQ. Okay, those are our rays. Then the next thing it asks is for 3 line segments. Well, your line segments are going to be this triangle, right? Because anywhere where there's these arrows, those are lines or rays. So segments, you could say RS, you could say ST, and you could say TR, and all of those are segments. QR is also a segment. QS is also a segment. Okay. So there's multiple answers. They have RQ, QS, and ST. So the book has different ones. To me, the easiest ones would be this triangle because you can see them. They're all segments. So the last part of this that we have is the idea of being congruent. So figures are congruent if they have the same shape and size. So you've kind of covered this before. The segments are congruent if they have the same length. So congruent is sort of like equal. Are they equal? You can use a trick. You can use trick marks to indicate congruent lines, segments, if the so like the triangle that they have here. So let's draw that triangle real fast. So they have this ABC triangle. So we have A, B, C triangle, and they have these little marks. These marks indicate that these line segments are congruent. They're equal. Okay? This line does not have a mark because it's not the same size. So if we look down, so we can say that AB, line segment AB, is congruent to line segment CB because they're the same length. Let's look down at the thing that they have in example 3, this sideways triangle rectangle thing. So it looks like this. It's like a sideways triangle, and then attached on the bottom, it's like a house that fell over or something. Okay, and we have the little lines like that. Then we have little lines like this, and then we have little lines like that. So why do you think that there's more than one line? Well, it's so that you don't think they're all the same length as this one. These two are the same, these two are the same, and those two are the same. Okay, so 1 tick marks are equal, the 2 tick marks are equal, and the 3 tick marks are equal. And this is labeled R, S, T, Q, P. And so your challenge for the end of this lesson, or the end of this video, is to write down in your notes which of these line segments are equal. Okay, so I'll give you the first one. RQ is equal to RS. And then you need to find the other 2 equal line segments. Okay, if you have any questions, you can raise your hand. And if you don't have any questions, you can get started on your homework, and your homework will be 1 through 15 all. So you will need to do all of them.